appreciate it. First thing, thank you very much for faith in us and getting us to come over from South Australia and put your aquaponic system in. We enjoyed your company and also enjoyed the scenery, which was lovely, and we're glad to get it finished for you. I'm just going to go through a quick rundown with you to sort of finalise a few things for you which you would have received yesterday, but I'll upload this, as you know, because you're already watching it, upload onto YouTube and you'll be able to watch that and send it to kids or whatever and show them as well. But please just save the download and then put it somewhere so that you've got a reference for yourself later on. Right, these are the typical beds. They're 1200 by 1200. In the centre I have a automatic siphon. In this automatic siphon you shouldn't have to do anything with it except later on, once the plants are sort of fairly large, you may have to just turn this around like that just to cut any roots that may develop in there later on. And if you just remove this cap here, you can grab any roots out, etc., and take those roots out that might grow through those slots there. Inside here is the right control height. This doesn't have to be looked at or anything. This is automatic. It'll keep running for you over time and time again. The only thing you may need to do is, as the root mass increases in here, you may need to reduce the flow a little bit, because as the void space increases and fills up, there'll be less water requirement, and so you'll be able to turn that down just a little bit so it can siphon off, but that won't be for quite some time. So there's 3 of these beds. They're all running off this one manifold, and on the far end I'll show you the valve there for that manifold valve that you can adjust that if you need to. But underneath here, each one of these has a exit port, and that allows the water, when it dumps this water from in here, that allows the water to run back to the sump, which you'll see in a moment. You'll see on the video there. The manifold valve feeds off the pump that's in the sump, and it splits into 2 ways off this T. Half goes to the tank and the other half goes to the 3 beds. If you have a look over here, you'll see a valve. This valve over here is set onto here. This is not glued in, so you can rotate this. You can see the amount of water coming in, and that's really about the flow you want. If we turn it up, it doesn't increase it much more, and if we turn it down, it's a little bit too much. So you want it around about there, roughly about 2,000 litres an hour, or turning over at least once the tank an hour. So this can be adjusted however you want. If you move that down underneath, that'll stop any noise that might come out. That's just enough to suck some aeration down as well. So the water flows in here, and that allows it to go into circular motion, and once you've got fish in there, with that cylindrical conical base, it'll start to drag the waste down to the bottom. That'll run through the standpipe here, and through the standpipe, and we'll dump into the clarifier. In here though we have our aeration. This is how you want your airflow at all times. As you can see here, plenty of aeration, and that's all you require. If you've got aeration, you won't have any issues. Coming back to the clarifier, you can see how much water is flowing up through the clarifier. So as much as is pumping in is being drawn out, and you're starting to see already bits of plastic and bits of waste already starting to settle out. What I have done in here, I have given you these pads here, and this is simply just to take up any of the swarf and dirt that's stuck in the tank and in the pipes as we're cutting and all the rest of it. So it's only there for a day or two. That one's already dirty, so I'll put another clean one in for you. But you can use these over and over again. But they will plug up very quickly, as you can see on both sides already getting dirty, so it doesn't take long and they get dirty, but it's just a precaution just to clean that up a little bit more. Once it goes through the clarifier, it then goes back into the sump. So the complete cycle here is from the sump to the tank, rotating around inside the tank, being aerated, collecting the waste from the fish deposit, through the standpipe in the middle, up through the clarifier, dumping into the clarifier, and then from the clarifier back to the sump. That cycle. And then the other cycle is through the T, through the media beds, dumping, and then back to the sump as well. Now you'll see some discoloration at the moment. That's only temporary. It's only because the media is that colour, and so that'll settle down after a while. As with the plastics, will get sucked in as well. One thing I can suggest is, later on we'll talk about it, but you can vacuum this off with a little bit of hose into a bucket, and then aerate that bucket of waste, and that's what we call mineralisation. So we can mineralise aerobically. So it's basically like soil composting, but instead of using air and water rather than ambient air and garden materials, etc., we're using the waste from the fish. So we're using an aqueous type of mineralisation. Over in here, this is about the height that you want your sump at any time, and this will allow then the water to flow through. quite readily, but also gives you plenty of, you can take a couple of days off and you know there's plenty of water there for your plants, etc. They won't suck it out very quickly through transevaporation. As you can see here already, the salts are already forming on here from the water I sprayed in yesterday. It doesn't take very long and the salts already start building up, so you have got some salts in your water. Another thing you might want to consider is when you do work with the pump, I'll just turn the pump off and I'll come back. Alright, to clean the pump, there's two ways we can do it. You can either disconnect here on the cam lock, and it just comes off like that. And you can take the pump out, and what you'll be doing is just undo this one here. Just remove the filter pad, give that a good rinse out. Don't use chlorine or anything, just give it a good rinse out and then just place it back on like so. Making sure all the holes are covered. Screw the cap back on. And then I'll show you how to put the cam lock back on. Cam lock just slips into there like so and lock it down. And we're done. And then you can turn the pump back on. And off you go again. You may do that maybe twice a week once the fish are in, and you might do that once every second day once the fish are grown up and starting to use a lot more food and produce a lot more waste. So keep an eye on that one, but that's really the only maintenance you'll need to do. The rest is fairly simple with your plants. Either use seeds or put little punneted seeds in, or punneted plants in, cultivars in, and you should be right. But look, any questions, just give me a ring. Anyway, thank you again. Enjoy your system, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.